Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my podcast, A Voice of Truth. I am your host, Elisa, and I have come to you today with the message about breaking illusion. So, I had to write a couple of things down, that way I wouldn't forget. So, it's important to get in touch with reality so you can make it to success. Be raw with who you have become. Be honest about the type of people you run with. There was a saying back, I guess some that are about my age group and older that should remember that if you run with trash, that is what you become, or something like that. And generally, that means that if you hang out with people that are not very good people, their influence, you tend to embody their influence. So that's what that means. And I also wanted to say that in order to see past others' illusions, you need to first stop lying to yourself. You need to break through your own illusions first. To self-heal from traumas is the epitome of shattering illusions, your illusions. When you have faced your shadow and your demons, others can't hold anything against you effectively, because oftentimes a lot of people enjoy holding things against you to make you feel lesser than, to make themselves feel more comfortable around you, to make themselves feel better about being in your presence. When you have healed, this means you have taken accountability for all good and bad actions and feelings. All the good and the bad feelings and actions that you have done to yourself and to other people. It also means that you are completely aware of your actions from this point forward. Your actions then, at that point, become more purposeful. You begin to move with purpose. You begin to act with purpose. If you want to be transparent with somebody, be transparent only with specific people. Not everyone who smiles at you, who acts friendly towards you, who behaves in a loving manner towards you, may not necessarily be for you. Not everyone who claps for your accomplishments means they are truly happy for you. I've had to experience this in my own life with some people that were closest to me at the time. And I had to realize that even though that these people did not realize that they themselves were jealous of some accomplishments that I had achieved, or maybe what they consider to be an accomplishment, or what they consider to be better than them, which I don't see it that way, but it's a projection. It's when people project onto you and they do what they can to make themselves feel better about being around you. And people's behavior after you awaken, it's the weirdest thing. But after you awaken and you become self-aware and you become aware of other people, you start seeing the true sides of others. You start seeing patterns in behavior, and you begin to understand that others that generally seemed very genuine, sometimes some of them are actually the most conditional. I had to learn that with my parental figures. I saw that. And see, when I looked back at it, it wasn't the very first time I noticed it. I noticed it when I was a child. But I allowed, because I loved my parents, I allowed my parents to put blinders over my eyes. And so therefore I became, and then of course when you love somebody, you don't want to look at the bad. But I also became blind to who they really were and how conditional certain things that they did for me were. When you are living with somebody like this, protect your peace at all costs. Their projections have nothing to do with you, but have everything to do with them, with their insecurities. That's just the way it is. They cannot find, for whatever reason, they lose their comfortability, I guess, or their comfort around you. Because you begin to see the patterns. You begin to see the illusions that they put themselves in and that they choose to use with other people around them. Because they function differently than you do now. That's what that is. You see through a different light, if you would. You see in the light, I guess you could say. Your light shines and shows the shadows of other people, and you begin to see the pattern of behavior that they so choose. And you begin to see the conditions placed behind every action, behind every smile, behind everything that they might do for you. You begin to see it. And you can love these people. Like I said, they could be as close to you as your parents. And there's nothing wrong with loving them. But understand that being around them should probably be limited. Unless they're coming at you directly and they're making you feel or trying to make you feel lesser than, if they're attacking you all the time, then you need to protect yourself. It's important to protect yourself, to protect your peace. Boundaries are not secrecy. Boundaries are boundaries, and they're placed up for a reason. And sometimes those said family members, and I had to learn this the hard way, that sometimes family members have boundary issues. And mainly with their kids. I've had to see this myself. And not every parent is like this. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that for whatever reason, they don't acknowledge every piece of their child's autonomy. They expect you to tell them everything. So they'll ask you multiple questions in multiple different types of ways. When they see that you have boundaries up, they will ask you the same question in a different form. And if you listen, you will catch it. But they're asking the same question. Like, they might as well just say, "What are you doing?" Because that's essentially what they're doing. When they want to know every little detail about your life, you don't have to tell them. Because not everybody needs to know every little detail about your life. It is not your calling to make other people feel comfortable and to give them details, every single detail of your life. It's not, you don't have to do that. It's not required of you in this life to do that. You don't have to. Who says that you have to? You don't. So, yes, it's important to protect your peace at all costs. And once you have made peace with your past, once you have made peace with your shadow, once you have made peace with who you are, and you have accepted who you are, you owe nobody anything. They can try and hold things against you over your head and say, well, I was there for you during this time. I was there for you during this time. I was there for you during this time. So you're saying that it was conditional? You're saying that you were expecting to get a piece of the pie at the end of the day? It shouldn't be conditional. You always say that your love is unconditional because I'm your kid, but yet you want to do this. Yet you want to do A, B, and C. That's conditional. That's called conditional love, unfortunately. And I'm not saying that just because that they expect something from you in return all the time, they don't care about you. That's not it. It's just that they are projecting, in a sense. They are projecting an image of you, an expectation of you. They are projecting expectations of you at the end of the day. And I'm going to tell you, if they decided to take on the burden and the stress and all of that, you don't owe them anything. You just don't. You don't owe them anything. They made that decision. And okay, they made that decision. But it is not your job. It is not your duty to owe them anything. Because you don't. So self-healing from traumas, as I had stated, is the epitome of shattering illusions. And it first starts off with you. You need to shatter your own illusion. You need to, like I said so many times before, you need to get raw with yourself. Get raw. Get real. Very real. Uncomfortably real. Ridiculously real. Do it in a time that you have time to yourself. Because I'm going to tell you, it's a mirror that is put up in front of you. And I mean, it's not an actual mirror, but it's a mirror. And you begin to see your actions, and you begin to realize your rhetoric to yourself and others. And you begin to realize, oh my God, I'm doing this to myself. I need to be more aware of this. I need to be more aware of what people say to me because they are telling me exactly who they are, what it is that they want from me. And it's not just your parents, guys. It can be your friends. It can be your partners. It could be anybody. Listen to what people are telling you. I used to have a boyfriend. I think I've mentioned him in the past. He was in the U.S. Marine Corps, and I'm not talking bad about the United States Marines. I think they're wonderful people, but you get some bad apples in the bunch once in a while, right? I mean, that's just with anything. It happens in police force. It happens anywhere in everything, right? You get some bad apples sometimes, some damaged ones, some bruised ones, if you will. And unfortunately, he had a lot of issues. And he had a tendency, a propensity of lying to me about everything. For the longest time, I allowed him to put me in this state of feeling lesser than. He was very verbally abusive when he came back from boot camp. And this was years ago. This was when I was about 18 years old. And he was very verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, mentally abusive. And I really never told a whole lot of people about this. I don't know if I told anybody about more than this, than what has actually happened, than what had already actually transpired. Um, there were certain things I know for a fact I did not tell some of my friends at the time. But let's just put it this way, he was abusive in every sense of the word. But at the same time, I allowed, or whatever, because I take accountability for allowing this behavior to continue, for allowing this loop to continue. And he would love bomb me after an argument, after me calling him out on his shit. He would love bomb me and then go right back to doing what he did before by putting me down verbally, emotionally, and mentally, lying to me all the time, letting certain things slip, you know, saying, "Oh, I was hanging out with this girl the other day," like, "Oh, I wasn't supposed to tell you that." Or, something like, it was something stupid like that. And it's like, what? And there's somebody that I watch once in a while, and he talks about narcissistic abuse and traumas and all that other stuff. Some of y'all will know who I'm talking about. I can't think of his name right now, but Lee Hammock, I think. But anyway, he talks about how, yeah, narcissists will actually, not every, how do you say it? Not every moment is a bad moment with a narcissist. Of course, there's going to be good times. Of course, there's going to be good times, because there has to be some good in there. Is that way they can use it against you later. Oh, I remember when we did this. Oh, I remember when we did that. I mean, he's right. He's absolutely right. I dealt with that. He all of a sudden he would just go into this reminiscent phase, like, oh, I remember when this happened. I remember when we first met. I remember this and I remember that. And I remember us sending each other letters, love letters. Don't you remember that, babe? I mean, he had a way of doing that. That right there, that's an illusion that they are trying to put in front of you. That's what that is. And I'm not saying that my ex was a narcissist, but he was a very toxic individual. And that was manipulation at its finest. This relationship went on for 3.5 years. 3.5 years too long. And it was really funny because at the end of everything, he acted very self-righteously, like, oh, I can't believe you left me. I can't believe you left me for this guy, because it's true. All those years ago, when I was about 21 years of age, I think, I did leave him for somebody else. And guys, I did it really wrong. I did it very wrong. But what has happened has happened. I can't change the past. But the truth of the matter is, I did do it wrong. I should have just, whatever. But I wanted to make a statement because my ego was bruised after all of that doubt that he put in my head, all of that, all those mind games that he projected onto me, all of these things, okay? All of that. I wanted to get back at him. When I was young, I was very vindictive. I was extremely vindictive. And so I acted out too. I take accountability for that. I acted out stupidly when I should just said, yeah, we're done, and just never talked to him ever again. But again, what's done is done. I had to make peace with that. And thinking about therapists, I was reminded, and when I was talking about my ex, I was reminded about the time that I went to therapy. And not everybody's experience is going to be the same, guys. And I am not telling anybody to stop seeing their therapist. That is not my place. Okay. That is your decision. That is your, whatever you do in your life, that is your decision. That is not my business. Okay. That is not my business. But I do want to kind of bring it up that be careful with some of these therapists, with some of these counselors, because when I went to therapy, I went a couple of times. It was after horrific illness. It was, I think it was in 2024, and the therapist didn't help me at all. I went a couple of times, but she didn't help me at all. It was, all it was just talking about my traumas. And yeah, I only went a couple of times, but that's all it was. And I'm thinking that's it. You're not going to give me advice. You're not going to, tell me whatever. I mean, you're not going to help. That going through those traumas, you can do that yourself. And again, I'm not telling anybody to stop seeing their therapists, because I don't believe that every therapist or every counselor is out to only do that. Because what they're doing is they're taking you on the merry-go-round, and they're at the same time collecting money from you. And they keep it's them and its physicians. Some, and I've run into a few of them myself with my illness, some of them only are after money, and that's it, to collect a paycheck. That's all they care about. I'm not saying that every doctor and every therapist is like this, because you know what? I know for a fact that there are some that are not. There are some that just really want to help, that truly, genuinely want to get you where you need to be, in a healthier state of being. And that's wonderful, guys. If you have a doctor like that, hold on to them tight. If you have a therapist like that, or a psychologist or whatever, hold on to them tight. Somebody that is, if you're improving, if you're seeing improvement, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. If you're seeing improvement in your well-being, and you're getting better, and you're, whatever, you're healing and you're actually improving, that's wonderful. But if you're not improving and you're just continuously getting worse, and more traumas are just not only coming up to the surface, but they're just there all the time, and the pain is getting worse, that is when you should probably fire that doctor. Same thing with the physician. If you are not getting any better and you are getting worse physically, because this happened to me in 2022, you're getting worse physically, then you need to make the decision to fire that physician and get another one. Because of this particular specialist, that's what happened to me. And I am convinced that I was very close to losing my life a couple of times, because this doctor did not want to do anything but collect a paycheck. And he was very rude to my mom, and the way that he talked to her, and all those things. I will never forgive him for that. Ever. I just won't. I will not ever forgive him for that. And I'm not going to mention his name, because I'm not that type of person. I'm just not going to do it. But the thing is that if you are actually seeing improvement in your state of being, good. Because I do believe that there are physicians and therapists and all that good stuff that really, truly, genuinely want to help you. And you will see improvement with those. And count your blessings, because they're a dime a dozen. They're hard to find. Some doctors are just in it for themselves, and some really want to help. But also remember the state of mind becomes your state of being. And with that, you can pretty much put together as above, so below, as within, so without. And if I am being very honest, that's not just, what do they call it? Some call it an occult teaching or something of the sort. I call it a universal law, or it's in the Kabbalion, okay? Seriously, get yourself a copy of this book. I don't know if y'all can see it, but get yourself a copy of this book because you will learn a lot of things. And some of those things. Wait, I can't find it right now. I don't remember. But some of those things, like as above, so below, as within, so without, is mentioned in the Bible, but it's worded very differently. Because I have stated before that religion is, I guess you could say, a reiteration of spirituality, but it's a corrupted sense of spirituality. It's to soothe the ego. I see that a lot. And I'm just saying what I have seen because I grew up in the church and I've seen a lot of this. And religion is an iteration or reiteration of spirituality. And it's a corrupted sense. It's to keep you stuck. Hang on. A definition of iteration is the act of repeating a process with the goal of approaching a desired goal or incrementally improving a product. So it's like having the brand name, like Xanax or something like that, and then having an off brand, a generic brand, it'd be it's like having the brand name of a medication and the off brand. It has the same ingredients, the same whatever. It does exactly the same thing, but it's just named something different. The as above, so below is not worded, it's not word for word. It's really not in the Bible, but it was written such as, Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. It's a restatement of the same thing. So saying as above, so below is a reiteration, saying thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven is a reiteration of as above, so below. It's a restatement. So, just keep in mind that while you move in life, be careful of those that are around you. Be cautious. Use your discernment of what you listen to. Use your discernment of what you follow, what you learn, what you read, and the people that you run with. Use your discernment. Be sure to align, be sure that the people that you run with align with you. Because if they don't align with you, you will not get the support that you deserve. You will not get the support that you need. And that goes for everything. That goes with friends, that goes with family, that goes with relationships, that goes with everything. That even goes with your work. And, it happens a lot, especially when jobs go corporate. Always protect your peace. Boundaries are not bad. Having boundaries are not bad at all. But the people that don't respect them, there's a lot to be said about that. There really is. There's a lot that is said, or and that action alone should tell you a lot about who they are as a person. Sometimes people that get in your business hardcore like that, and it may not be like this for everybody, but I think somebody does need to hear this. Somebody who's always wanting to get in your business, and I'm saying after you're the age of 18, when you're 18 and over, you don't need to explain yourself anymore. And if your parents are not respecting your boundaries, you need to find a way out. You need to find a way to get out. And there is always a way. There is always a way out. There is always a way. But it takes patience and it takes time. Don't act out. Don't do that. Have some self-control. Have some self-respect. And if you don't have that, learn it. But if you have parent or parental figures that do not respect your boundaries, that's a problem. That's not okay. If you're 18 and over, that's not okay. If you're under 18, well, you know what? It is what it is. It is what it is. But if they're actually like physically abusing you, and I'm saying like horrific, like really bad, there's a way out for that too. But I'm talking to the audience that are adults, 18 and over. There is always a way out. Always. Protect your peace. And don't act out of anger. I had to learn that the hard way. Says a lot about those people that do not respect your privacy and your boundaries. It says a lot. A hell of a lot. And if you're paying attention, you will see the insecurities of them. But have some compassion for it. Realize that them projecting onto you has nothing to do with you, but it has everything to do with them. It's an insecurity deep down. And I'm going to tell you right now, they're not going to believe you if you point it out. They're not going to believe you. They might see for a second. They might listen to you for just a minute. But they will not believe you at first. They won't. Because they lack the self-awareness. So I'm wishing everybody well. I think that is going to conclude my message for the day. If you have any questions, if there is a topic that you would like me to expound upon, drop it in the comment section, and I will see about what I can do on explaining it a little bit more in the following video or two or whatever. Just let me know. Okay, just let me know. I'm not a closed off individual. I'm willing to discuss things, in a civilized and an adult fashion. So that means both of us, we need to be able to talk, and communication has a flow to it. So there's a difference between an attack and a flow of communication. All right, so just keep that in mind. And again, I'm closing out this session. Everybody have a wonderful day or night, whatever time it is for you. And stay safe out there, guys. Use good judgment.